Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Darren. If you haven't been here before, this is Tectonic Traveler, and we're going to slow it down here a little bit, and hopefully it's not too boring for you. But if you're somebody who's sitting there waiting to go on a bike tour, or sometime this summer you've been thinking about it, or you've already been on one, this might help out if you're having a little apprehension about going out on another one alone, or doing your first one alone. Now, I did my first one alone in Alaska about 20 years ago, and it was on a bike that I got in Berkeley for $200, and it was definitely not a touring bike. It was a hybrid Gary Fisher. I bought a bunch of shit. I hung it all over the bike the best I could. You can see in the photo. And I just, strategically put things on there. I already had some nice bags, and I had a tent. And again, I was a climber, so I kind of had some gear and used it. It crossed over a little bit, but everything was heavy, and it was just my first time, Now, and it was a great trip. But the difference between that trip and the one I'm going to talk about mostly here is it was just a short 3-day trip, and my girlfriend was waiting for me at the other end, and up in Denali. It was from Anchorage to Denali, Alaska, and it was really cool. I just got off the glacier guiding a trip and picked up the bike in Talkeetna and rode up to the park. A great trip. But this solo trip I'm going to talk about next and right now is probably, it counts as the real first solo trip. And it was a month-long trip, and it was during kind of a rough time of my life, and there was no one waiting at the other end. Not really. And not like that aspect. And so it was kind of a lonely trip. It was also a lonely start because I had a friend that I usually toured with, and he couldn't go. So that year I ended up going by myself and trying to kind of organize. I was fine organizing it. I was ready to go gear-wise, and I had the bike, but internally, psychologically, I just wasn't all there yet. So this is a long story, and I'm going to just try to put it in a short story for you, because the way I felt, I can't describe. Maybe you're feeling this way. Maybe you have. But yeah, it was a real lonely time. I've got all the money I need. I got all the gear, and but it was just something missing. And it's because I was used to having somebody else with me. And so here's the deal: is I was going to go down the coast, and that's a great trip, on the coast, Washington, Oregon, California. I did that with my friend, and so that's got cafes, bike shops, restaurant. You got the whole thing all the way down. Never a shortage of people, and campgrounds are cheap, bike and hike campgrounds, hike and bike, whatever. But the Sierra thing I was going to plan was going to be, it was a toss-up. I was going to do Sierra Cascade or Cascade Sierra, whichever way you throw it. And I thought, well, should I do that? I read about it, and I was like, man, that's a big one for me at the time. And I actually hadn't done anything alone that big. Now, so I'm in Portland. I fly to Portland. I go to Bonneville, North Bonneville, Washington, to my friends in the Columbia River Gorge, and I stay there for a couple days. Now, I'm in a toss-up. I'm still haven't decided which way I'm going to go, because right there, I'm close to Portland. I could go either way, but something inside was just like telling me, you got to do this big trip. You've already done the coast. You've already done it, and if you do this one, it's really going to be good for you. Reaching back to my Colorado outward bound semester, that was where I learned to kind of reach deep and do this kind of stuff. So I just laid there for a couple days. Well, I didn't lay there for a couple days. I hung out for a couple of days and just decided, all right. I woke up one morning, and I didn't decide till one morning, okay, I'm going to Cascade Sierra. So I left his house. I went to Hood River, and then I started in Hood River this time. Now, since then, I've done the whole thing from Canada. But I started in Hood River, up and over Hood, and the first couple days were really rough. I wasn't feeling good. And then the third day, I just all clicked. And the fourth day, as I was crossing over by Bend in 97 South, cruising down to Shasta, I was feeling really good. And the thing that happened was, as I clicked into it, and I didn't even notice it happen. First I was lonely and scared, and then all of a sudden I was like, so into the routine. And you know how it is when you're touring or bikepacking. You're in a routine. You got to get up. You got to get things going. You got to break camp, go again, eat, and it's just nonstop, really. And I got so involved in that, just like I did when I was climbing. That's what it reminded me of. And I was just back into that groove. And but it was the first day, 2, barely 3. But if you're apprehensive about going alone, and you've covered all your bases like I had, you've got your stuff, you got YouTube, and friends and that maybe bike, and you've got your GPS, and you got your bases covered, your emergency plan strategy, but you're just still like, oh shit, man, I just don't feel good about it. That's going to go away, unless there's some other reason you're not feeling good about it. Maybe you have an injury or something. Make sure you're not injured before you go. And here's another thing, make sure that you don't push it right away. When you're out the door, when you're out the gate, that's when mistakes happen. And they happen to me, or close calls, like it's early morning and I'm out and gear slip or something happens. And it's always early when I'm starting, or when I'm starting back up again with I gotta go, I gotta pull back, deep breaths, meditation, breath work. If you know what that is, that's how I live. And calm down. You'll get in there, man. You'll do a great job. Ask me questions. Put them in the comments. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this is helping at all, please subscribe and like. And we're going to talk next a little bit more about my solo journey that I did there that I was talking about. Pretty epic. Thank you.